Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claude and the Banstas. We've got a great show for you tonight and some cracking guests. Just below me, we've got the man himself, Kenny. Ken, how you doing, Ken?
I'm very happy to be here. How is everyone? I know this is the seventh week of our enforced, like I said, rest from each other on a physical basis. And I must say, thank God for the local shops around the corner who sell everything.
No, we definitely need them, mate. That's for sure. Our bottom right, we have got a great man who's been on this channel a couple of times. He's a fantastic gentleman. It's Chig. How you doing, mate? Hope you're well.
Oh, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I'm good. Not too bad. Pretty much like Kenny again, really just trying to go through the week as best as you possibly can, and then hopefully sooner or later this lockdown rules will ease. So yeah, good to go.
You cold, Chig? Are you cold? Is that hat on? You cold?
My hair is terrible. Straight up, that is the superficial reason that I have it on. So.
Don't worry about it.
And obviously, to my left, to my right, sorry, we've got the man himself, Claude. How you holding up, mate?
I'm okay, mate. Struggling along. Had a few issues over the last couple of days, but we have to carry on.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Right, we've got some breaking. Well, just before we come to the breaking news, we've got a couple of things that have. Oh, hold up. We've got a super chat straight away from Zane. Hope you're good, mate.
Yes.
Claude, McDonald's is opening.
Oh, bloody about time and all. My brekkie back.
Let's have a quick trip down memory lane because we're on a couple days back in first, obviously 1971 on this day. Old Ray Kennedy scored an header against the old team down the road, and we won the league for the double that year. Do you remember that, boys? Do you remember that, Claude?
No, I barely, because I was still very young. I wasn't actually going to games then, but I remember all the little bits pieces of it, hearing about the game. It wasn't even live on TV that day, was it? It wasn't even live on television. It was the result was announced on Panorama. That's that's the old days, mate. I'm afraid. I don't know why, but that's how it was in the old days.
What about yourself, Kenny? Can't remember it either.
I was born in 1972, so I was actually told about it because I remember one thing. I just remember when I was about 5 or 6 years old that there was like these massive posters around one of the houses in where I was living in Crouch Hill, and it just said Arsenal double winners, because I knew we won the league in won the FA Cup in 1971 because they were always showing it, but I didn't realise when they said double. So what's that? Because we won the league that year as well. I was like, really? So, brilliant. So and then they just told me the stories about it, and it became part of folklore. So it's just something that we've been brought up. I was brought up on, but I wasn't fortunate for us to win it. We said one, but I did see it in 2002 and previous before that in '98. So they were my memories anyway.
How about yourself, Chig? I was still in my dad's ball bag at that stage. So
not even a twinkle in my dad's eye, I don't think. But yeah, no. With things like that, I always like to look back on it. I don't think there's necessarily any disgrace when somebody mentions a match that's before your time and before your understanding. I think what you do with that information is always important. So with historical things like that, I like to just go back, and if it's on YouTube, watch it. That's what the internet is good for, things like that, where you can go back and look into our research and look at previous games. So I like to do things like that. So I probably will do
that. Okay, we've got another super chat from Zane.
Kenny there. For Kenny, this is question for Kenny.
Read it out, Claude.
Kenny, did you know United sold Nanny for $5 million and Johnny Evans for $3 million? Why didn't we buy them? Yet we waste $60 million on mustachios.
I think the thing is that it's kind of hit and miss, because we have bought players from Man United, and remember we bought Sylvester, and that wasn't a very
No.
big success in itself. I remember we've had players come from Chelsea as well. Like they've started off well, and they've become haven't shown their Chelsea form. So really and truly, it's really hit and miss. In terms of Johnny Evans, that is probably been a mistake, because I believe that there was talk of Johnny Evans, and that's a player that I would definitely, he would have definitely done a job for us. But again, you've got to realise the environment we are at Arsenal. If you have a poor midfield in front of them, that is, well, what I mean by poor midfield, I don't say it technically, but I say a team that's more inclined to attack. You don't give your defence protection. I don't think any decent defender will look good in our team. Definitely would have looked good in our team previous to Unai Emery's reign, and it definitely probably wouldn't look good in our team now. We just need a whole new change of philosophy in terms of mentality when we don't have the ball. As soon as we do that, our defenders are going to look like $1 million. And I'm not just saying it in the odd game here and there. I'm going to say it on a consistent basis.
Oh, we've got a new addition to the podcast. We got you on the Afzal.
How you doing, lads?
How you doing, Afzal? You all right, mate?
All good. Yourself?
Yeah, not good. Good, thank you, mate. Good, thank you. We've got a great question here, Claude, from Christopher. He's put, great show, guys. Prefer watching you guys to other shows. Any merchandise from Claude's show possibly in the future?
Yeah, well, merchandise. I'm not a big merchandise guy, really. But
Watch this space.
Oh, you never know. I'll have to do one of these hats with one of these hats.
And I'll buy one, Claude. I'll buy one. I'll wear it just for you.
We've got another super chat here from Chadwick. He said, Claude, did you hear that your boy Fabregas is cutting 30% of his wages and Monaco doesn't have to pay him back? Top man, Claude. Give it up to him.
No, I'm not giving it up to him. Sorry.
It's about time.
I can't forgive the guy. I'm sorry.
Claude hates us. He hates
Even if he gave 100% of his wages, I couldn't forgive him.
He hates him with a passion.
Next. What?
Dane said again, Claude, why are you against Williams? He's still better than what we got.
Brilliant. Won Wimbledon. I don't know why would I be against Williams? Won Wimbledon. What's he talking about, Williams? Is he talking about William?
I mean,
talking about William.
William. Yeah.
No more cast-offs. No more cast-offs. Sorry. No, it's not good enough for Chelsea. Ain't good enough for us. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Send him down to White Hart Lane. That's what.
I think he's a good player, but I'm
sick of our club being turned into a retirement home. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, Claude, can I suggest the reason why? The reason why we're getting players from like Chelsea and Man United, first presumably Chelsea, one, it's because their families want a continuance of living in London, and two, most importantly as well, is that we're not getting our first and second choices. They're going elsewhere because one, for financial reasons, and two, because they don't think the club's ambitious enough. So we are going to get players.
I'd rather go in the youth system than do all this shit. I'm sorry, Kenny. I'm not having it anymore. I'm not having these players. I'm not having these players anymore.
Yeah, Claude, you can only go in the youth system if you've got a successful team that is winning trophies regularly and then top four regularly. We need to get in the top four like yesterday, and that's why we do go for these experienced players
from
Chelsea. Maybe they're not good enough, but they're good enough for Chelsea, and they've got pedigree of winning trophies and big titles. So you get them in because you think they're going to be good.
So did Sylvester. So did Sylvester. He had pedigree.
I know. All right, we have me credit. Yeah, but yeah, Dave.
And all these other players that have joined us, all these other players that have joined us. Pedigree.
What team? But Claude, what team is around them? You got to ask the one thing: is that you and I know, and everyone in this panel knows, we're a crap team, and we're not exactly brimming with world-class players or a team that's capable of getting in the top.
No, we haven't got one world-class player. We haven't got one world-class player.
So that means Arsenal want them.
Kenny, if this season ends, we will have to get players in like Willian. Because where's the money going to come to get big players?
Well, Afzal, that's another topic we got to discuss later. Well, Terry's.
We'll talk about that in a minute, definitely. Just before I come to another question, which is a great question, by the way, Mally Mo. I'll bring that up in 2 seconds.
It's not only that, Terry. We don't need William. We've got two players in that position. We need defensive midfielders and defenders. We don't need William. Why are we putting William for?
Claude,
got players in that position.
Claude, I hear what you're saying. Your defensive midfielders and your defenders are only as good as the mentality around you. If you do not have a defensive mentality when you don't have the ball, you can get Ndidi and the best midfielders of the world. You can even get probably Fekete from the dead. He's probably one of the best defenders ever been. But they're still going to look bad in our team. It's a mentality that the man in possession has to change.
Yeah, and the only reason, and I'll tell you another thing, the only reason we're after people like William, because the agent is linked to Mr. Raul. They're all mates with Raul, and that's the only. Notice it's the same agent is putting these players forward to us because they're all agent linked. Because all money exchanging hands, my friend. All money. Let you buy this player, we'll put money in your pocket.
We'll come back.
I'm telling you.
We'll come back.
I don't care what people do. Sue me if you want to sue me. That's what's going on now. What agents?
Exactly. What we're doing.
You can sue me. I ain't got no fucking money anyway, so sue me.
What we do is we'll come back to William because I like to get everyone's point of view on that. Just coming up to the second trip down memory lane. On this day in 1998, our captain, fantastic, Tony Adams, scored that winner against Everton at Highbury. What a fantastic goal that was. Afzal, can you remember that goal?
I only started watching Arsenal in 1999. I'm 26 years old.
So you missed
but I've watched all the highlights of that season. I've done all my research of the season, and that was brilliant. You know, I wish we had some players like that now. Unfortunately, I can't think of one player now who would get in that team.
Exactly. No, you're right.
We had Bergkamp, we had Anelka.
Fantastic.
That was a class team, class squad, and it showed. We won the double that season.
And some people think we're better than the Invincibles, to be honest. I'm one of those people.
That is a good point. I mean, there's a lot of
I disagree.
But also, there was a lot of how can I say? That team should have won the next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We lost to Leeds.
One mistake at Ellen Road cost us the title.
Last game of the season, we lost to Leeds, and we should have won the FA Cup.
And unfortunately, we didn't have. The only thing is, we didn't have the back. We had, what is it, Kabadiawara and all these players on the bench in 1993.
He has some clear chances.
But how many chances did he miss that night? Kabadiawara that night. God,
quite a few.
And then you had that supposedly Argentinian fullback. Was it
Vivas?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
International fullback.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about him. Yeah.
That's one on me.
Was Christopher aware that year and all, or was it a little bit later than that?
I think Rare was a little bit later. I liked Rare, Christopher Rare. I always liked him.
Raya was 98. Raya was one of the main.
He played in the 98 title-winning side.
Yeah. Oh, was he? Okay.
Goals.
Who was the year after?
Raya got vital goals at Wimbledon, at Bolton, at the Reebok. I think it was that brilliant goal he scored at Bolton. He was a very important member of our team in that year. For me, he's a legend, an Arsenal legend.
I think he joined that season, the season we won the double, and then he left in 2000.
Yeah, I think
he was there for 3 seasons.
Yeah, these people all contributed. Bo and Morty, they all contributed in that year.
Yeah.
Even though they used to say he comes from Portugal, he can't control the ball. He still, he still contributed, didn't he?
Again, that's another player I liked. I liked Bo Morte. Like you say, it wasn't the greatest, but like you say, all of these sort of players contributed to the overall cause. Yeah. Our first teamers at the moment barely do that. Never mind our backups. So, yeah.
So, what was your memory of the Adams goal, Chig?
Oh, I still remember it. So, I was 13 when that goal went in, and you just knew. You knew as soon as he was boring down the goal. I thought, okay, that's it. That's it. That's 4. That's number 4. For me, it's one of my favourite Arsenal goals. And I think right before it, Ian Wright had a chance. And I thought to myself, you know what? It'd be so nice if Tony Adams had the last goal. Literally straight after Tony Adams had the last goal.
Steve Ball with the assist, by the way. Steve Ball.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is one more than Mesut Ozil this season.
Yeah.
And not only that, Claude, not only that, it was with his left peg.
Yeah, it was just like with this big foot. Yeah,
Left peg.
it was a beautiful strike as well. It was a beautiful strike.
Unbelievable. What about you?
Strike.
Your memories?
What's that? 98.
Yeah, of the Adam goal.
All I remember about it was thinking, you know what? It was a game that I expected us to win, but it was just that I was just like in shock at the old day because I was just expecting things to go wrong during that period. But when you put the ball in the net, you just thought, you know what? It's just like, that's Mr. Arsenal, you know what I mean? Putting the ball in the net, getting the last goal. I know everyone, myself included, wanted Ian Wright to be part of the party as well. But it's like you can't really begrudge Adams putting that in the back of the net. And it was just like, I thought, you know what? I don't think people realise what we've just done. We probably set ourselves in a situation where we can actually dominate this league because we had a very, very, very strong Man United side, and we managed to beat them home and away. And I thought this was going to be the beginning of a lot of things. And to an extent, it was the beginning of a very great rivalry that lasted probably about 2 years. I'd liked it to last a lot longer, but in terms of those two teams, if you look at the season afterwards, there was nothing between Arsenal and Man United. They were both strengths and weaknesses. There was probably about 1% in it, and that's how strong the games were. Especially the game. All right, we beat them the next season 3-0 at Highbury, but in all the other games, there was nothing in it, nothing in it at all. And I think that's That's my greatest memory.
I mean, even that year, the semi-final when we lost, probably as a neutral would say, was one of the best FA Cup semi-finals of all time, wasn't it? That replay.
Yeah.
I think it got made when we missed a penalty. That's what turned it into a classic because we missed it in the last minute when we actually could have won it. I think that's what it was. I
still don't understand why no one just didn't bring.
I know
one for the team against Giggs and just hacked him.
Yeah, Vieira was just
Yeah, but he went for about 4 players. Just dragged him down, man. Just took his legs out.
And we're a very dirty side at that time as well. So we weren't exactly a nice team. But I think it's one of those things that when someone's in that run and they got that in their mind. I don't think even if our players were on motorbikes, so they called Ryan Giggs that day. It was just like one of those things that it was inspirational. It's inspirational.
Two of them
could have had.
I think the thing about Ryan Giggs is that one of those things, he was going at a lot of pace, and I think, you know what, they could have, but it's one of those things where, you know what, it was a great goal. Can't take it away from that.
Yeah, though we were drawing with them 36 games in, same amount of points. We blew it to Leeds. I think we blew it to Leeds 3 times.
Yeah.
I thought that season when we beat the Spurs in the Lane that season, I think it was
3-1. Anu scored, Petit scored 3-1.
Yeah. I thought then it's going to come our way because then they dropped points. They dropped points at Anfield, didn't they?
Anfield scored that goal. Yeah.
Anyway,
I think what's happened is they're always like a point ahead. They always had that sort of little gear, like they had York and Cole, and they had Sheringham and Solskjaer to cover the bench. I just thought that's where they had us in that 1%. That's why I think they were a little bit better, and it's kind of helped showed, isn't it? Because you look at it, the FA Cup, but their substitutes, got one of the goals into Sheringham, and in the final, the 2 subs that come to the bench won the game for them.
This comment here, what was that comment before?
We'd have to come back to that one because we're going to miss the super chats otherwise.
All right.
Chadwick Moffat has put, Kenny, in your last AFTV interview, were you wearing a Sebastian Scalacci jersey?
I'm afraid I think since the turn of November, I stopped wearing colours to games because it was so freezing.
I don't know you to wear Arsenal colours.
Yeah, I think for the foreseeable future, it's so cold at the Emirates that I don't wear any sort of colours nowadays. I think my age is catching up with me, and I just hate the cold.
The last time I was 5 years ago to a game. I haven't worn it for 5 years.
But I do have this jersey downstairs somewhere.
Yeah. What was that worrying message? That worrying message there from the Arbor.
I can't go back to get it now. Basically, it was a message from Manny Moe, I think it was, and it said something along the lines that
3 times.
That's what I don't know if that's true or not, but Diable has caught it 3 times, the COVID-19, and he's actually caught it for the 4th time now. So how can we?
I don't think it's
oh my god
about Dybala.
Sorry,
I'm not sure it's fully true about Dybala catching it 3 times before, because sometimes the report came out and then they say it's false.
Yeah,
we do know that the player has been a COVID-19 sufferer, and I know his partner was suffered from the virus as well. Whether you can keep on catching it, I have no idea.
I didn't think you could catch it once you've had it once.
Yeah,
I don't think he had it 3 times. No.
By the way, just a quick
restart. I think he also asked, should the Premier League restart? That's what he asked as well.
Right, yeah, that's right. Chig, what were you saying, Chig? No, Chig.
No, I was just going to say, because I know Bertrand gave a donation earlier and just asked what happened to Levenjana. And I didn't want him to kind of miss his message.
Yeah,
but
no. I've just
to be honest, I'd completely forgotten about Levenjana. But yeah, no idea. No idea.
Yeah, no, we're just Lev and Shaheen, we're basically gone their own way now. So it's just one of them things. They're going to be doing their own channel. It's going to be doing football quizzes and things like that. So watch this space. They'll be doing some stuff soon. Sorry about missing the super chat, boys.
No, that's fine.
My comments stuck there. So yeah. So what was we saying about Dybala? Do we think the football season should come back then this season, or should it be voided then if in fact he's caught it 3 or 4 times like someone said? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's told about getting the season back. We have to concentrate what's going on in this country, because you've got to remember there's that one thing we're doing with the Premiership right now. Obviously, Project Restart all depends at the moment. Well, obviously it depends on the players and the officials, but it depends on what's happening across the westwards in Germany, because there is a commitment for the league to start in the end of May. So I think what's happening now is obviously the players are in training in the Bundesliga. We're going to be looking at that situation in order as kind of a litmus test to see what can happen in this country. We can't just do what France did and do what happened in Holland. You've got to realise the reason why Holland cancels their league has nothing to do with the Dutch Football Federation or anything to do with the government. It had to do with the local mayors of Utrecht, Amsterdam, Eindhoven and Rotterdam saying, no way can do are we sanctioning health certificates for any of these games in our cities. And that is why the Dutch league had to stop their games. And the same thing kind of happened in France as well, where again, any game you have in this country has to have like a health certificate from the local councils, because they could be like a stumbling block. You could have everything in place, the TV people, you can have the ambulance there, you could have the players on board, you can even have the manager on board. But obviously it's going to be locked doors. But if you can't get health certificates still from local councils, then that is going to be a problem. And I think that's the thing about it. However, like it or not, people are going to talk about voided or not, but you've got to look at it from a financial point of view. People say, well, health doesn't mean much when it has to be finances, but let's get it right now. People still need money to live and still to buy food. They're still going to need money to pay their mortgages. Mortgages ain't going to go away. You can only write off or defer it only too long, maybe 2 or 3 months. The players still got to pay the bills. And the thing about it is, and as well, you've got to look at it as most importantly as well. You look at all these people who work at the football clubs who are non-playing staff. It's easy for me and you to say, oh, how dare you furlough these staff when the club's got no money. But you know what happens if you don't use that government option or don't even think about it? The worst case scenario for these poor men and women is that little knock on the door and say, we've got an announcement to make. And they say, well, we can't afford you no more, so we're going to make you redundant. Now, the safety net has to be this furloughing. You may not like it, but we have to get real here. There isn't money in football that you guys think there are. all the money depends on what comes in from TV and what comes in from gate receipts and what comes in, what ultimately will come in from visits to the stadium, training ground. If there's no money coming in, you can't pay people with shirt buttons. And that's why people, football fans, need to think more about their football clubs. Because we're talking about their clubs going out of existence. Don't rule anything out. Arsenal are in debt now because of COVID-19, and so have Tottenham. Stop all, and that's why people need to think more before they say what they feel are the right things. Because right now, yes, we are in a situation where there's a virus, but there has to be, the economy still has to run. People still have to get paid. Still, people still have to pay for food and boycotts. And that's why we've got to be very careful before we think, pat ourselves on the back because we're saying the right time.
But Kenny,
if we're saying the right thing.
Sorry, can I just come back to you on that? Just before I do, here's a message again, what he said, Malimo. He said, Diabla has called for the fourth time. This is an issue for the players' well-being as it destroys the players' lungs. With players like Aguero frightened to play again, what will happen? It was a little bit different to that, but yeah, that's more or less the same point. But coming back to what you just said, Kenny, I mean, I get that obviously football comes from the gates and sponsorships and things like that, you know what I mean? But it's the same thing for me as like Virgin Atlanta, you know what I mean, with Richard Branson. I mean, that geezer is worth millions. He's worth millions. He's made all his millions of pounds from Virgin, and then he wants to put his staff on furlough and not use any of the money that he's made from owning that company. Now, Stan Kroenke is so much money off of Arsenal Football Club. Do you know what I mean? His wife is, you know, the owner of Walmart in America. They have got millions and millions and million pounds sitting in a bank. Sitting in a bank.
But Terry, I'm sure the trouble is that when you run a business, I'm not defending them, just stating some business facts. Good businesses don't use their personal fortunes to put money in the club. Stan Kroenke is already putting money in the club to help out the members of staff who are in the non-footballing variety. That's where his money's going in. A lot of football fans talk about Stan Kroenke's money, and invariably they want it to go towards player purchases and player salaries. At this moment in time, that money that Stan Kroenke is putting in is only going towards the furlough
saving people's jobs. Yeah, I made that point.
That's what Stan's doing at the moment. And
I made that point today.
And the thing about it today, so I agree with you, Chig, as well. All the money that these clubs put in, they're only loans. They're not money that are going to have. They're going to want it back because that's what these people do.
I said, I'm glad you're saying this because I said literally the same thing on my show today. I just said, because I saw people say, oh, well, where's this money at? We've got first of all, the season ain't even done. So I don't know why are people all of a sudden rushing this man to get his money out. The season's not yet done. The summer window is not yet open for his money to be rushed out. And then secondly, the money he's bringing out is just so that we can keep our normal plan together. Because obviously this is affecting a lot of people. And this is about saving people's jobs. This is not about transfer money. Transfers should be the last thing really that anyone should focus on. We're just trying to keep the club together and operating and get through this period. Anything about, oh, well, where's this money coming from? Why don't we use it and offer people new contracts? No, we're trying to save existing contracts of people that are working at these businesses. This is a real life situation. This is not about fantasy football for a second. And I think people need to just calm down. Let's see how this plays out. We're going under territory no one knows anything about. And we just need to see how it plays out first. Because not only is this going to hit Arsenal, this is going to hit a lot of clubs. And we need to see how this plays out first and then reanalyze. And then you can then start making plans moving forward. But to me, I'm not giving this man grief. He's not my favorite owner. Quite frankly, I'd be happy if he went. But in this particular situation, I'm calm because I want to see how it all plays out first. And then you can start moaning and complaining if that's what you really want to do.
Yep. I've got a big reply to that question about should the season be cancelled or whatever. Absolutely not. Health comes first. Let's put it this way. Health comes first. Health will always come first in life. But you play the season when it's safe to do so. Whether it's in June, which it won't be, whether it's in July, whether it's in August, whether it's in September, you play the season when it's safe to do so. because if not, Premier League clubs in total are going to lose near £1 billion altogether in total. Arsenal are going to lose easily around 75 million to 100 million pounds. The season must continue because clubs will go bust. It's as simple as that, right?
It's all very well. It's all very well saying continue, but where's it going to continue?
That's what I'm saying. Wait,
when's the finish mark? Yeah,
you need to finish.
Yeah, but
hold on. Say October, we've still got this people dying, and there's possibly people still dying. Do we then go into December before we start this?
Then you put the football calendar back. The World Cup.
Listen. There's a fundamental problem there because obviously you've got other teams now in different countries that avoided their season. So this is going to have an effect now on Champions League, on Europa League and things like that. Because if we don't start our season until September, December, that means that we're going to have to miss the Champions League possibly then.
But let me say one thing. No one has voided their season because voided means it's scrapped. It never happened. The Dutch league, they've still giving positions to Champions League teams to qualify and Europa League teams to qualify. The reason why they didn't give title winners is because it was on goal difference. So voided means absolutely scrapped, as if the season never happened. UEFA have said you're not allowed to void your season because you will not be allowed to go into Champions League next season. What the Dutch have done, they've cancelled their season and they're going to put teams through to the Champions League and Europa League. They're not giving promotion and relegation because it's too close to call. What the French have done is they didn't void their league, they cancelled their league and they've put PSG as title winners because they're 12 points clear. Belgium are going to do the same because Club Brugge are 15 points clear. If the season has to be cancelled, like I said, health comes first. What the Premier League will do is they will do no relegation. They will give Liverpool the Premier League and they will put teams through to the Champions League because UEFA have said, if you void the season, no teams can be in the Champions League. If you cancel it, you have to put teams through to the Champions League by sporting merit. And you have to do the table as sporting merit. So I think it will go as PPG, points per game basis. Liverpool will be champions. You have the top four of City, Leicester, Chelsea. If City's ban is not upheld, then United will go through, but they won't be able to do relegation because it's too close to call. You have to give Liverpool the title. One sec, Claude, 2 minutes. You have to give Liverpool the title because it ruins the integrity of the game. 25 points clear with 9 games to go. If you can't give a team that title, then what is the point? It ruins the whole sporting spirit of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, all very well. As you say, there's a difference between voiding and cancelling it. Yeah, I agree with you. But you have to, I only thing I can see that then, if you're going to do that, then you have to have probably a 22-team season next season because then you're going to have.
Yes, and
or if you're going to say no relegation, then you're going to allow those 2 teams that are coming up. Otherwise, they're going to be following. There'll be loose lawsuits coming from Leeds and West Brom, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I say 22 game season next year. 4 or 5 teams go down. Whatever.
Money to broadcast because that'll be good for teams for next season for TV money. But I ain't blaming, as Chig and Kenny was saying, I agree with their view about Stan Kroenke. If Arsenal do not spend money this season, I'm not turning on the club. I'm not turning on the owner. Because how can we spend £100 million on players when we're due to lose that much this summer? We're not going to be able to buy big players. We're going to have to sell Aubameyang. It's true fact. If the season cannot finish, we're going to have to sell the guy.
Well, you can't exactly say to your staff, we're doing pay cuts, and then the next minute you're throwing millions.
£100 million player comes rolling in.
Exactly. You can't be doing that. No. I think that's the only goal that we know. I don't think we should put that out publicly. But that's our.
We all know Arsenal fans will moan like all this summer. They're going to be saying we're going to get Partey, we're going to get this guy, we're going to get that guy, and they're going to moan if we don't get it.
No, listen. I've said since the start of the pandemic. I said since the start, everyone kept saying, "What about this player? What about that player?" I said we should not. Any team should not be thinking about any players until we get over it. Because at the end of the day, we should be more worried about paying our staff than going out buying players.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially like when you had Tottenham that put their whole non-playing staff on furlough, and then what you're saying? What comes the transfer window? They go out and spend 80 million because they've sold a player. I don't think it should be allowed. I think all teams should have to not buy anyone this season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know it's horrible to say, but if you can't afford to pay your staff, you shouldn't then come out and say, "Well, we've got 70 million here. I've just found it in my pocket, and we can go and get part of it," because that's not right. Just quickly, we've got a super chat from Joseph. He's put, "Great show, guys. Questions to Afzal. Who was better out of Rosicky and Ozil in the Emirates era?"
Rosicky. Rosicky, of course. Rosicky, definitely. I'll give reasons why.
You're the wrong person to ask.
No, listen, he's not an Arsenal legend. Rosicky is not an Arsenal legend. He never will be an Arsenal legend, but he was a good player.
Yeah.
He was a good player who was hurt by injuries.
Yeah, injuries hurt.
He could have obviously gone to another level, but he didn't reach that level for me at Arsenal. But when he was on the pitch, he made some very, very good contributions. Mesut Ozil, he's been at the club 7 years. For me, he's only had half a great season, in my opinion, which was at the beginning of 2015-2016 season. I've only seen 4 months of good play from Ozil. Apart from that, since 2016, I've seen nothing from him. So there's only one answer, to be honest.
What's this from Lawrence here?
That's a great question. Go on, Claude.
Do you think Sanielli and I should be sacked if Aubameyang is sold to a Premiership League rival? Well, I'm not convinced about these two characters anyway. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know about the rest of you, but they don't fill me with confidence. I don't think we can afford to sell Aubameyang, because if we do sell him, where are we going? What are we replacing him with? And I'm not being.
I think Claude, can I just cut in for a minute? Sorry to get in. Yeah, because Oliver's made a great point, Oliver Fourway, about Pete himself, and he's right in that saying that. Because he said people are more worried about what's going on in the transfer to Pete himself, which is wrong, and that is a great point by Ollie as well. But the thing about it, right, as Afzal did mention previously to the situation, is money. We're losing money hand over fist, and when clubs lose money, whether you like it or not, working whether you like it or not, because banks have to be paid and agents' fees have to be paid, it's not going to be an issue where you can afford to keep players keep your best players, especially a club like Arsenal.
Hold on a minute.
We've got a lot. Hey,
hold on,
Claude, let me finish. You haven't.
They have got it.
All right. We've got a few things against us, right? First thing we've got against us, most importantly, is this pandemic. 3, this is highly likely going to be our 4th season without Champions League football, without the money, the advertising money, without the TV money. Now, whether we like it or not, yes, we can keep him. We can keep him. Fair enough. But you've got to look at the situation as that. We've mentioned this show. We are not getting our first and second choice players.
Kenny, we weren't,
because there's a reason.
We weren't getting that when we was in the Champions League for 20 years.
Definitely, but we're not going to be getting them now, though. That's the thing. And even though we do keep Aubameyang everything, there's always going to be that little boy inside the board that think, you know what? We've got a new manager here. We've told him we ain't got no money, but we can give this guy money, but we have to make some sacrifices. Now, we don't want to do that, but the biggest only sacrifice Arsenal can make, which is a liquid asset, is Aubameyang. It's not going to be Mesut Ozil's wages, because Mesut Ozil's wages is off the bat. That's not a liquid asset. Mesut Ozil's coming to the end of his contract. His contract's going to be up thing. But in terms of a liquid asset, the club may have to consider that. I don't want them to, but where's the money going to come from?
But Kenny, we might, if we sell Aubameyang for 30 million to a Premier League club, we might as well fucking raise the white flag.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry.
I do agree with that.
Raise the white flag. I'm sorry, mate. Because I'd rather for 30 million. What are we going to get with 30 million? Come on, listen.
All right. It's the last year's contract. All right. Can I ask you one question, Claude? Hypothetically,
run down. 30 million. Run down, Kenny.
Hypothetically, right? And you're a businessman, Claude, because you've done some bit of business, and I tell you're a businessman as well. as far as this show's concerned, we're all businessmen, right? If Barcelona offer you 40 million for Aubameyang, and Real Madrid offer you 45, and then Chelsea say, well, we give you 60 for it, what would you do?
Well, no, if you're going over 60, 70, 80 million, and you've got a chance, maybe you've got a chance of getting a good top midfield player that will contribute goal-wise, and that will then you can adjust it that way, yeah. But for £30 million, I'm not selling no one, mate. You might as well keep it.
Who said it's £30 million though? Who said it was £30 million?
Well, that's what they're going to do. This is what they're saying. 30 million.
I don't think people when this is what I mean. You're just looking at one side of this story. One side of this story is £70 million. Even if we got that for Aubameyang, right? But look, put money aside, right? Put money aside. Right, for a second. Even if we got 70 million, right? Even if we had 70 million, what 70 million striker is out there right now that's going to hit the ground running next season for us and get us between 20 and 30 goals, which we are desperately going to need? Because
here's the thing.
What you do,
without them goals, we'll be in relegation. What are you doing
with that 70, 80 million? You buy a player who can score from midfield. We haven't got. This is what our problem is at the moment. We rely a lot too much on our midfield is shit for scoring goals, isn't it?
I agree with that.
Right. My whole thing.
You buy a top quality player like Maddison or Grealish or whatever for that sort of price, because that's what you'll get. And then you rely on Martinelli to give you 15 and spread it around the team. You know what I mean? Spread the goals around the team. But But with 30 million, you can't do nothing.
Yeah. My whole thing is this: from my perspective, like Claude says, I wouldn't want to sell Aubameyang to anybody for 30 million. I'd want to get the absolute most I can for him. First priority has to be to sell him abroad, obviously. But ultimately, if Chelsea came in and said, "Look, listen, realistically, no one's giving you 60 million for him. We're desperate for him. Take it." You'd have to use it, because from my perspective, even if you said, "Oh well, I can't sell him to Chelsea. I can't take this offer, so I'm going to let him play the end of his contract." This time next year, we face the exact same issue, except now people are blaming the owner because we need to replace the goals, but we don't have the 60 million that you rejected the year before, and you're in the same position anyway. People forget that. All right, yes, we would be in the relegation zone without Aubameyang's goals, but also people need to remember we're ninth with Aubameyang's goals. So at the end of the day, I would rather try and replace that now, try and find a solution to that situation now, maximize that opportunity. If it comes to selling Aubameyang, it's not my first choice. Let's just make the best out of that situation. More than 30 million, though.
The only problem
more than 30.
The only problem with that is, though, Chig, we go out and we get a striker, and then he performs like Pepe has this season. Everyone gets on his back. Arsenal's back. Everyone gets on the chairman's back. We haven't got Aubameyang's goals then. So then where are we?
Where, for me, my issue is more about the recruitment team. How is it that now Leicester, you trust Leicester to make a good decision on a transfer target than us? Forget the top people. Leicester make better recruitment decisions than we do. So it's not even just the fact that we're spending money, because we've shown in the last couple of years we can spend money, but we're not spending money on the right targets. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know Afzal there is grinning. I still think Pepe comes through for us. I still think he'll become a good player for us. But you have to look at the situation and be honest with yourself. Did we need Pepe last year for 70 million? Probably not. Let's just be real here. We probably needed a star defender. We needed a Koulibaly. That's what we needed.
Yeah.
And instead we went to go and get Pepe. Now, all right, we've made this investment on a guy that I think will eventually come through. But I think it's more about the decisions at recruitment level. Like who is deciding Pepe over a defender? Who made
the
that
reason is because there's an agent that would have made a name for himself, and he had contacts with that agent.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Our mate, Mr. Rail, he had a contact with me. He went like, "Oh, look at this! I've produced a £70 million player here for you."
Yeah.
This is all PR. It's all. Yeah, I know. I understand that, and I don't have no problem with Pep. He's a top quality player. Don't get me wrong. I know people might disagree, but I think deep down, I think he's a quality player. But I don't know. I think we should in other areas. What's this, Terry? Come on.
This is the breaking news, which broke an hour ago, and this is Premier League clubs prepare for 2021 season behind closed doors. So, what's your take on that?
I totally agree with it. I'm back. The simple reason is that it's something that I suspected for a long time, and I think football fans have to be very patient and accepting of the whole situation. They've got to realise now is that there's a lot. The reason why, and I say this with the greatest respect to a lot of people who I interacted with on Twitter, I don't really interact with them now. Their main reason for this season to be voided is because if the season is voided or carried on with behind closed doors, it means they can't have that interaction with their football club. So because they can't have that interaction with their football club, then football should stop anyway. Because I can't go to games and I can't go to my pub around the corner, the Tolly, the Pins or the Eaglet, then no football should happen anyway. Football should only start when fans should go to games, because football is nothing without fans. And that's what they generally believe. But this is a message to all these people need to realise right now. Match-going fans are the minority. They're only about 10% of the fan base. If in fact, it's probably only about 5% of the fan base. The other 95% of the fan base don't go to these games. They can't afford to. One, because they haven't got the time, because they work weekends, and some of them just have memberships. We still have to provide a service for them and football fans in general. Football fans is not just about people like all of us who go to the games and have season tickets. Sometimes we've got to take the blinkers off and think about everyone else. It is not safe to go back. All right? You can't just have Boris Johnson saying you can't see your mother on Mother's Day, or you can only see 10 people at a time, and then you expect to have 60,000 people in the stadium.
It's true.
I mean, what sort of madness is that?
So, Terry, so what happens?
Yeah,
but what happens now, Kenny? Without what would be the best solution then?
This is the best solution. This is the best solution.
What I would do, right then, if the clubs want to make their money back, right, they want to make their money that they're going to lose on revenue, is that they produce their own channels, yeah, and they stream the games for a certain fee to their fans. And surely that way is the only way forward, isn't it? Then
they won't, because they've got contracts with Sky and BT. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Can't do it.
Well,
the thing about the thing they're gonna the thing of Afzal, they're gonna have to relax that, because you can't have a situation where you rob Peter and now Paul wants to have a go. You can't. You got to be unilateral. You can't have closed doors and have people congregating outside the ground. It's got to be stopped. Closed doors means no pubs, no eateries around the place. Close them all down. If you're having a season behind closed doors, next season behind closed doors, or safety grounds, then close all the pubs. Close them all. If you're going to do all of that, then give us an incentive. We want games, every game, to be live next season. You can do it. You may not want to do it, but you can do it. FIFA now have to give the match-going fans something back, as well as everyone else. All right.
Exactly.
We don't want to subscribe and go on some channel like on our computer, which you're gonna sort of like I said, blank out anyway, because you're not getting the money. Give us something back.
That's what I'm
want. I want every game. I want every game on BT Sport live. I don't care whether you do it on Amazon, BT Sport, Sky Sports, Amazon. Don't care what you do. I want every game live. You owe us that.
You'll sort something out.
Give us that. FIFA needs to. FIFA can as long as we get that permission from FIFA, this is what we want back. We understand we can't go to every game, and we understand there's a majority of fans who don't go anyway. So give us something back. That's what I'm asking.
I think that's the plan anyway, isn't it? If it has to be behind closed doors, the plan is to make most, if not all, of the games free to see for people. So obviously that would be great, especially for those Saturday 3 p.m. kickoffs and stuff like that. Is it being there in person? No, but I think people need to understand this is a unique situation. And I think that's what kind of goes, without going too far back, that's what I was, this is not about Stan Kroenke. This is about, okay, every business has taken a hit. Everybody show a bit of patience and understanding. Let's adjust for a second and then reevaluate when we need to reevaluate.
The only problem I can see with all this is we are very greedy here. We're not thinking of the lower leagues. And right,
yeah.
This is where hold on. So what happens to League One, League Two, the non-league clubs? Where are they going to? No one's going to film their games, are they? What's going to happen to them? They're all going to go out of business.
Yeah, but Claude, they do have a TV deal with Sky as well, and some of the non-league clubs do have a TV deal with.
But are they going to cover every team for them as well?
Why not make it unilateral? Make it. Why not? Find a way. Find a way.
To be honest, I don't know why they haven't done this years ago. To be honest, you know what I mean. We've had Sky for how long now? Over 20 years. You know what I mean? We've had BT for a long years now. You know what I mean? You've got Amazon, you've got loads of Netflix, you've got loads of companies. They can spread all of that amongst all of them. And all
these clubs are very stupid, really, in a way, because they could have done their own deals and made much more money than if they went with Sky or BT, but they've never done that. I don't know why, because they've had the opportunity to do that over the years, but they've kept agreeing these deals. Because if they'd have gotten their own deals and each club done their own deal, they would have made much more money out of it.
You mean like Real Madrid and Barcelona?
I do not understand why in this country we've gone with Sky, BT, and all these years where they could have just done their own thing, their own channels, and they would have made much more money. Can you imagine it? Because the worldwide fans that they got around the world if they had their own channels.
Yeah.
Well, every pound that Reading makes, they have to spend £2 on player salaries. That's unsustainable.
No, exactly.
We'll see. I think that's what I was saying to Robbie about 2 weeks. I was saying it to Robbie about 2 weeks ago that what people seem to realise, right, is that I think we always have this discussion about the owner putting money in. Where's all the money going? Well, the evidence is that all the money goes on player salaries. They're the goose that laid the golden egg. So they are going to. If you look at your budget, 90% of that is on player salaries.
Yeah.
That is the problem. You have to go to abroad to watch your team play. That's the problem. If you had it in this country, can you imagine it? If we all had our own channel, Arsenal had their own channel. But people that can't go to Arsenal had their own channel. How much they could take in?
I mean, just going back to the point you made earlier on, Claude, where you said that how can they do it with every single club? Well, like LKS says, SuperSport in South Africa has almost all the live games. Now, when you go abroad, you can go into any sports bar out there, anywhere, and you can get any game that is on.
Bein Sport show everything. Bein Sport as well.
Yeah, Bein Sport. They've got everything. So why can't we do that?
We can do it. I think what's happening is that it's all about individual greed. But what's happening now is that they've opened up the can of worms. Coronavirus has basically made people think differently. Like I think Steve Parris of Crystal Palace said about the new normal. Well, the 2021 season is the new normal now. Now, after 2021-22, what is the new normal? I mean, if we don't have all those tests, are we going to be able to say that allow 60,000 people to go to the Emirates Stadium for the foreseeable future? I mean, are we going to have reduced capacities? Because this is what we're going to do. Because you think about it, if social distancing is going to be the norm for the rest of our lives, you've got to cut capacities at football grounds.
Yeah.
Surely. Wembley's got to cut. So you've got to say, instead of having 60,000 people at the Emirates, you only can have 40,000 people. Instead of having a cup final with 100,000 fans, you can have 60,000 fans, and they've got to have these massive spaces. I think that's what we have to look at now, because I know workplaces now. If you guys go back to your office, you're going to find that your office, floor that holds about 70 people is only going to be able to hold 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your take on this, Chig?
To be honest, I'm kind of just agreed with what everyone else is saying. I don't know. I think this whole thing's going to be a mess. It's going to be interesting to unravel it all and see. It's so depressing to even think about. But in terms of the actual 2021 and football just staying off, I think they just need to do whatever they need to do. And Sky, hopefully, from their own PR sake and point of view, will support that. There is a lot of signs that they will. To be fair to them, and some people will say that they'd had to, but to be fair to them, they were very quick to say, listen, we get that there's no sport. So if you want to pause it. You still watch Sky Sports for whatever it is. I think they're doing lots of debate stuff at the moment on Sky Sports.
Yeah, they are. They're doing quite a few things there.
And literally, you can still watch it for free, but in the meantime, we'll pause your subscription. They were very quick for things like that. So I have to give credit where credit is due. But then on the flip side, you could say, well, yeah, they kind of had to do that. This will be the litmus test, because when the season kicks back in, how will they support us as viewers, and also the viewers who, more importantly, people like Kenny Ken and Claude and Afzal that go to games physically, how will they support them? Don't just yank up the prices because there's going to be 2-3 times the normal viewers that you wouldn't ordinarily get. No, actually compensate us. Help us. You're a conglomerate. This is an unusual situation. What are you going to do for us? Whether that will happen is another question. For me, I just want to see the games. And as long as I can see the games, this is not the time to be political between the two companies like BT and Sky. They need to just come together and say, all right, regardless of if this guy is normally a BT customer or if this guy is normally a Sky customer, we're going to allow them to be able to see it.
Well, the only thing I can see now, and it's going to might be a bit of a painful process, is that we just cancel this season, cancel all the seasons, and unfortunately, until everything is sorted and a vaccine is sorted out for this whole thing, we lose football for over a year, and that's all. It's hard.
Is this war? Is this the war though? Is this a wartime?
Yeah, like the war.
Choice.
I mean, in the war, in the war, we didn't have no football, did we?
Clubs won't. Clubs will go bust. A lot of clubs will go bust by then.
Yeah. But the trouble with the war though is that the reason why we couldn't have the games is because a lot of the players joined the army and the RAF. They had to fight because everyone had to fight. This is a different situation now in respect.
What I'm trying to say, Kenny, is when is it going to be safe for people to go out and watch a game of football again? When is it going to actually be safe?
Claude,
when do we know when it's going to be safe?
You know what? That is the bottom of the pole, Claude, because simple reason is that the most important thing for football is to get these games to go ahead and get the players on the field, regardless of whether fans there or not.
But even the players. Yeah, but you're still putting the players at risk.
Claude, the priority is going to be the players and them having their tests and then them having the vaccine. They're the ones, because simple reason is that because they're the goose that lay the golden egg, they're going to be the most important people ever then. Now, people who don't like football will say, oh, you can't have that. Well, I'm not too funny, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. People with more money are going to be prioritised when it comes to that. It's happened since the beginning of time. The rich, whenever there's like a cure for something, someone with more money are going to be able to pay for that cure, pay for that medicine because they've got money. Players have got money. The Premier League's got money. It's a big, bad, bastard world that we live in. But unfortunately, that is what's going to happen. Their health is going to be prioritised over people like me and you. We may not even be able to get back to the Emirates like we do. Who knows? We might.
The thing is, what you got to look at and always, and I didn't really look at it until Claude brought it up a couple of shows ago, and that is, if we do get back to playing football in any league, what if? And it obviously is a big if. What if a player drops down dead from this virus because of it? Then where does football go from there? or any sport. Any sport. If you find that one of these players, when they do the test, have had COVID-19, where would that leave any sport?
I think you can't let fear dominate this, though, because regardless of where these players are, yes, of course, it's much more likely if these players are together that one could catch it. But at the same time, there's no guarantee that if they stay at home until a vaccine comes, that they won't catch this thing. I think it's about my worry about this whole thing is that it doesn't seem like the Premier League have any kind of plan, at least from the outside. And I think to a certain extent, I understand why. But even a business has a basic idea of what they're going to do, what their exit strategy is going to be, or exit strategy of the lockdown will be. How are they going to introduce it? What will it look like? Heck, release it to the fans. Maybe the fans have some ideas as to how it can make it work. At the moment, it's just left to speculation. And that to me is the more concerning thing. From my perspective, I think you just think to yourself, you just allow fear to dominate when you say, but what if this happens? And what if that happens? Because those are the sort of things that can still happen with the players being at home.
That is, Chig, what you're saying is when you've got people like Aguero that's coming out and saying that he's scared to go out and play. So then what do you do with that like that?
You got to respect his wishes.
Yeah.
So if you've got 4 or 5 players that's saying, if your main players that are saying, I don't want to go out there because obviously my wife's pregnant, or my mum and dad living with me, and it's going to affect them. Where does that leave your team then?
But do you know what? Ultimately, and this might sound like a pretty basic answer, every single business is being faced with that problem right now.
Oh, no, you're right.
They are talking about this situation right now. I'm hearing people saying, "Oh, well, lockdown's going to be eased off next month." As a HR person, one of the things I have to do literally this week is think about how people are going to enter the office. Are we going to do a 50% on, 50% off? How is that going to work? Are we going to keep social distancing up? Things like that. Football is no different in that respect, and it shouldn't be. This is why, for me, personally, as a business, these are the things that they should be planning. These are the things that hopefully you would think as an organization that have in place, like, right, what I want to hear next week, because I feel like something's going to happen next week significantly, is football to say, right, so this is what the government have recommended. This is the date we're coming back. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to take it in place. Don't punish any players that don't feel comfortable playing. It's their right. You can completely understand. And ultimately, these guys have families. So you can completely understand why they'd be like, no, I don't feel comfortable. Finish the season. That's the priority. Just get the season done. And then hopefully move on and plan for next season. But that's all you can do. I think all sport, all businesses are being faced with this problem right now. All you can do is just power through. That's all we can do.
What do you guys think is the fairest way to conclude the season? Like, each of you, what do you think? Like,
it's Afzal, finishing the season, it's got to be the fairest way, because the simple reason is that there's still matches to be run and there's still fix something on these games.
It can't be completed. Just say worst comes to worst, it can't be completed.
Well, then you've got to do the final positions. You've got no choice.
Would you say relegation then, or no relegation? How would you do it?
Well, not at all. What you do is that you keep the teams, and you just say to the top 2 teams, West Bromwich Albion and Leeds, are set for second, and say sorry Fulham, sorry all the other sides are 3rd, 4th, and 6th. The top 2 are the top 2, and they've been there for pretty all season. They can join the Premier League. That's how you do it. You've got no choice.
Kenny, I think this is the most fairest way. Try finish it if possible. Obviously, health comes first. If you can't finish it, then you got to no relegation, promote Leeds and West Brom, do a 22 league team, Liverpool champions, obviously, and promote the first top 4 going to Champions League, 5th, 6th, 7th to Europa League. That's the fair. So do it on points per game basis.
One thing I would say, right, and I say this is probably unrelated. I think it's about time Man City. I just hope that, for footballing terms, I think Man City have been getting away with a lot. They've won a few appeals. I just hope they don't win this appeal, and I hope that whoever's underneath Man City get that Champions League place. Because I think what's happening is that my biggest bugbear is that we are screaming and shouting about owners not putting their money in and about how FFP is rubbish. FFP is going to be a load of crap and a waste of time, and Man City get away with what they do.
Agreed. It makes the whole thing a farce if they get away with it.
If you can't finish the season, it should be null and void. No, nothing should be null and void. Why should the season be null and void? No, you should cancel it. I agree if it's not safe to do so, but null and void, no, that's a ridiculous idea. How can you null and void the season when a team is 25 points clear at the top of the Premier League? You know
another thing as well. Sorry to cut in. How can an Arsenal fan, right, go on Twitter and have the audacity to say, why should you hand the title to Liverpool when they haven't won it yet? When you're about 40 points behind them.
It shouldn't even be a conversation we're having. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's none of our business, quite frankly.
If Arsenal in that position, would any Arsenal fans be saying null and void, cancel the season? Just answer.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
If anything, I would cancel the season. I would give Liverpool a title.
Yeah.
The most fair way to do it. Like if they were 5 points clear.
I don't agree with null and void, because null and void will mean all this
no Europa League next season.
Exactly. I just feel that if the season's finished, cancel the season. Go on.
Yeah.
They say that one team has played one less game. Go on. What they've done after 28 games. Everyone after 28 games.
Someone else just brought a really comment in. If Liverpool weren't top, would voiding even be discussed? It wouldn't even be discussed if Liverpool weren't top. I'd agree.
No, I'll tell you what. If Arsenal was in this position, our fan base would be going mad if the people were
suing the petitions and everything.
And my friend Mr. DT would not be asking for voiding the season. That's for sure.
Forget DT.
I love DT, but he would not be asking.
No, he wouldn't.
Void the season if we were in this position.
How can he say that? Like, put yourself in that position, right? I'm just speaking from a point of fairness. How can you void the season when a team is 25 points clear? I swear, even if you can't. It's just not possible.
No.
The reason people do the season cancelled.
No, let's get this straight, right? Let's get this straight. They've been superior all season.
Yeah.
I think they've drawn one and lost one of their games.
7
the whole season.
Highest points tally.
And I'm not being funny. I mean, if we were in that position, every Arsenal fan would never ask for void the season.
Even if we
they'd even ask the games to be played Christmas Day. Yeah, I'm not being funny. No. Listen. I know this is how football works, mate. People have got agendas. Yeah, that's the problem.
And there's one reason why people want the season voided. One reason, because Liverpool are top. That's why people.
No, it's not just that. It's just that every team that's 25 points clear deserves to either finish the season or have.
That's the thing. We're saying, look, health comes first. You can cancel it now, but give them the title. That's the.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I totally agree with that.
This come first, so there's no let's do the season as if it didn't exist. You cancel it, fair enough, but give teams what they deserve. Relegation. I don't think anyone.
The thing with that, Afzal, is that you got Arsenal and Man City. That's a game behind, and you've got a team. I don't know who's in the relegation.
Sheffield and Villa.
That's what I mean. You've got one of them. If they win that in the relegation zone, they can come out of it. So
the best way to do that, Terry, is to judge them on the first 28 games, so equal games, and that's it. And that's
four average points per game. If we do that, we finish ahead of Spurs. If it's average points per game basis, we sneak ahead of Spurs.
Well, no, it's not a point of that. I mean, it doesn't matter.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just
saying 8 instead of 9. It don't mean nothing to us. But
I'm just making a general point.
I know what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is that how can I put it? I just think the only solution that is possible is to cancel the title, cancel the league, give Liverpool the league, and positions where they are, bang. Where you are, you go. after you take it on a 28 on an equal amount of games basis, and then if you're in the bottom three, you're relegated. And that's it.
You don't need to do relegations, or you don't even need to do.
And the championship as well. They take it for the games that they've played, whether there's games in hand, what they've played, a certain amount of games they've played, and do it that way. That's the only way. It's the only fair way you can do these things. That's the only fair way you can do
relegation, because it's too tight to call. You don't have to include relegation, but you have to include title winners, because if they were 1 point clear, obviously not. But because 25 points is a different story. You've got to be fair.
Okay, you can scrap relegation, then we have a 22-team season next season.
That's good, and then TV can get their money back. Well, they're not going to get all their money back, but you know what I'm trying to say. They've got more games to show.
I think the thing is you can't penalise West Bromwich Albion and Leeds United, and because the end of what I think what the football should need, the thing we're all trying to sort of put out is that it's not just about the Premier League; it's the other leagues. So
the leagues need their promotion.
If we're going by that thing, we have to include we have to include West Brom and Leeds and allow them to come into the Premier League. If we're going down that theme, as though so football restarts has to be the whole of football, not Premier League just restarts. And I think that's where the top two in every division has to go through. I know it's not fair, and some fans don't like it, and fair enough. But the thing about right now, what's happening isn't fair in life and every business.
And they're going to have to give Champions League places and Europa League places, because UEFA already said you have to do that.
Arsenal going to be sacked. Arsenal going to be sacked. So we're finishing ninth.
I don't care about Europa. No, what, Kenny?
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
I'd rather finish ninth than seventh. I'd rather be out of Europa League.
Do you know why you might be wrong there? If City's band is upheld, then we're eighth, like just saying standings. And then if it's points per game basis, we go ahead of Spurs. That means we're the seventh team. You know what I mean? So we might sneak in Europa League.
But I think what's happening is that I think we got to think about every scenario. The only thing the Premier League have been sort of conclusive about is the fact that they thought, right, we're obviously going to think about today and yesterday, but tomorrow, i.e. next season, is they made that decision. So they're giving themselves more time. They don't have to worry about the spread of disease and mass gatherings, because the government have probably gone up to them and said, look, you know what? We got a problem with mass gatherings. So, all right, don't worry about that. Yeah, we'll get the games on, but you know what? The next season is going to be, like I said, fan-free, closed doors. Government went, thanks, mate. You've done us a favour here. You know what I mean? So I think that's what they've done in advance. So
this is a great point. This is a great point here from Colonel Ward. He said, "How can you have European football next year when when everyone's at a different stage of coronavirus? So it's pointless."
That'll be a neutral venue thing, 100%. That's what I think.
We don't know what's going to happen. He's right.
Let's just. There was a lot of questions and about this subject quickly before. We've been going an hour and 15 minutes now. So last question quickly. Just get
you've got to get off and you tell. Sorry,
mate. That's fine. It's fine. It's no problem. But a lot of people were saying that there's a lot of talk saying that we could fly all 20 teams out to Australia and finish off the season there.
Not going to happen.
Obviously, they haven't got coronavirus, a lot of it anyway, and it's really low there. So there's been a lot of talk about that. So what's your feelings on that?
Well, it's better than neighbours and home and away, I suppose. I mean, to be honest with you,
I got a feeling Gary Neville's probably getting the cut of that move if that works out. So no, I don't think it's going to happen. Definitely
you know what's happened is like one thing that has opened the door to is that like when Scudamore was in power of the Premier League, he was talking about that 39th game being abroad. So I'm not saying that all the games should go to Australia. It's like, I want to apologise to all of my Australian fans because I thought the games were on Fox Sport Australia. They're actually on Opus Sport. Someone's contacted me, one of my Australian followers, said that all the live games are in Opus Sport. Just want to say that. But one thing I would say as well is that you've got to explore every possibility. You can't say no to nothing. because simple reason is that the theme with coronavirus is that what is the new normal? You know, we're talking about neutral stadiums and not every stadium being used. We're talking about behind closed doors. So why not think about taking some of these games abroad? Because at the end of the day, like it or not, one of the things that pay the Premier League a lot of money is their tours abroad. That's where they make the goodies. That's where they take all their Ozils and like Agueros and De Bruyne's, all these Premier League teams. That's where another avenue. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, they're going to need these games abroad as well, regardless whether it's closed doors or not, because they're going to need tourism and TV money. So, exactly. So Stan the Bank's got a great point.
So before I come to you, Chig, I just want to shout out that we've got a late night show tonight with Stan the Man. It'll probably be on around about 2:30 a.m. tonight. So come along and watch us on that one. And we've got a great show tomorrow night. Don't know yet. We don't know yet. I'm trying to get Glenn. Hopefully, we might get Glenn and maybe yourself, Claude, if you're still up. You never know. But
I don't know. I'll try.
And also tomorrow night, I don't know what time it is yet. It's either going to start at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. We've got a great show. It's going to be our new weekly show, a Monday night show, and it's going to be the review when football does eventually come back. It's going to be the review show of the Premier League, and we're going to have representation of all teams coming on during different times, depending on what teams, what games have been played at a great game. So tomorrow we've got Craig from Anfield Agenda coming on, a fantastic guy. He's coming on. We've got Sophie Soskar for the Man United. And hopefully we've got Lee Chappie from Leicester City coming on. So everyone come and watch us. And we'll be announcing a few others that have signed up with us to do the show on Mondays. Chig, what was getting back to the Australia? What's your thoughts on that?
No chance it's happening. I think it's just a proper... I get the solution because obviously Australia and New Zealand, they've dealt with this thing pretty well, to be fair. And as far as I remember, I don't know about Australia for sure, but I know with New Zealand, there was no new cases last week at all. So they've completely dealt with it very well. And I think that's in response more to players feeling safe than an actual logical solution. But I think it would I personally don't like the idea of them going all the way to Australia to play the games. I'm sure some of the Australia subscribers you have will be like, yeah, bring them over here so we can not wake up at ridiculous o'clock to watch the games. But I think from my perspective, no, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
So what's this about? What's this saying?
Saying, Claude, get Nigel Winterburn on.
Unfortunately, saying I can't because some arsehole on another channel destroyed that completely, so we can't do that anymore. Anyway, let's go. Carry on.
What's your thoughts on the Australia? You got your season ticket?
Hey?
I want it finished, obviously, the season, but it ain't gonna happen there. There's no chance. It's not gonna happen there. As much as I want it to, it won't. It's not really possible. So let's just hope, the correct decisions are made, in the coming weeks. Then let's see what happens then. Okay.
And Claude, will AFTV be paying your way ticket and travel to get there?
They won't even be doing themselves.
Oh, Terry.
Listen, AFTV don't owe me nothing, mate.
I'm joking.
No, they owe me nothing. And in fact, they've been very good to me, actually.
Saying that, I know this is.
If it wasn't for AFTV, you wouldn't be seeing me now, would you? I mean, on here.
Claude, guys, I know we're about to go, but I know this is very cheeky and opportunistic, but it's on your behalf. I'll tell you one thing, you're going to have quite a few watch-along opportunities, man, with these games being on TV. Oh, sorry. I'm only your accountant. I'm only your business advisor. Accountant. Don't have to pay me that much. Shut up, Ken.
I'm a football fan, not an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm not like others.
So I've got the job as your business manager, Terry and Claude. Thanks.
Exactly.
You don't have to pay me that much.
I prefer that we get. You know, I'm going to miss it. I want to get back into those stadiums again. You know, because that's my life. Watching football.
Yes.
You know, and it was my life before all the fan cams. I loved it. We didn't take Ty to Australia. I don't even think Ty's got a passport, but never mind. Anyway,
just don't let Danny Bear.
Sorry, Danny. It took me 20 years to get a passport, and it still don't work. Myself, I'm a football fan, and when I go on fan cams, I speak from there. You know, and that's where I speak from. I could have been personality. I could have been something else, but I'm just a normal football fan. So there's the answer to that question. There we go.
We love you for that.
We love you there very much for that. And a good thing about it, Claude, right, is that obviously you're going to miss your football when you missed it. Thing about it, but you've got to look at it this way, right?
I could do the hat thing, couldn't I? I could do the hat.
Yeah, of course. Claude, you got to think about it this way, Claude, right? This is going to be your best opportunity to do something different, and you're still going to have football. You're going to have every game.
Yeah,
right? We just got to do it. It's going to be a wrench for all of us because I've got a season ticket. I've had a season ticket for over nearly 25 years. I'm losing as well. You know what I mean?
Look who's turned up on here. Look, sorry.
Tony.
Up the Kenny, South Wessex. Mr.
Tony.
Rolf,
Hey, Tony.
answer your phone
Tony.
because I've been trying to get you on. Answer your phone, Mr. Rolf, please. Right, here we go.
What? And get Zach on. We need to get Zach on as well, Claude. You know, Zach should
Zach
be
won't come on. Zach will not come on. I don't know why. He's shy. He's a bit shy, Zach. So.
He's a bit of a shy guy. He's too cool.
Hey, Terry.
Even if it's audio, I get him on audio. He doesn't have to show his face.
Terry,
Terry, can we do audio without face? You can, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, of course you can.
He ain't coming on. He ain't coming on. Whether it's audio, whether it's no audio, he ain't coming.
So remember what I said, right? Always think about tomorrow. And tomorrow, remember, there are no fan gatherings at football matches. Just saying.
Well, how are we going to survive?
Just saying.
No more fan camps, no more skill. What's his name? Scripto, no more this.
I don't know.
How are we going to spend
no more fake tearing up season tickets? I know.
No more Libby Ledge. No more.
You know what's going to happen? You know. Hey, look, Robbie. I thought you know what's going to happen. Robbie's going to do a watch along with the fans, and then what he's going to do, he's going to do a show after the game, like a match thing, and he's going to say, right, I'm going to do a podcast with about 6 different people, and they're going to go through their match scams, and you're probably going to have rants online. It seems simple. That's another business opportunity I've got. You guys need to be paying me quite high, you know. I don't really thinking for you.
Kenny, after Ken.
All right, definitely.
Zane's coming with another super chat. Said, would you get Shane Warner? I'd love to get Shane Warner. Any contact with Shane Warner?
Does he like football though? We only watch.
But we can talk cricket with him. I can talk cricket as well. I'm knowledgeable on cricket.
Thank you, Adam. I've just seen your comment, Adam. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No. Oh, I just sub to Chig. I want more people sub to Chig because Chig deserves a lot more than he's getting at the moment.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right,
just before we go in, I just want to thank everyone for coming on. Chig, thanks for coming on, mate. Shout yourself out. Shout yourself out.
I can carry this on, Terry. I know you're in the right. I can carry this on if you want.
You're staying.
No, we're having a good chat here. I mean,
Claude, I've got to go, mate.
I've got to go as well. I've got to go as well.
Yeah, we got to go, mate.
What?
Yeah, that's what like when the show comes to the end. It's this our cues, isn't it?
That's why I'm single. That's why I'm single. All the married ones have got to get off the channel.
Right. Let me tell you something like now, Claude. I'm
the only single one on here, aren't I? I'm the only one.
Claude, trust. Claude, can I just say something, right? my wife's been practicing social distancing on me since we had the kids. So let's just get this right, all right?
Kenny, don't do that for when you get.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Thanks for coming on. No, thank you. Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed it. Claude, remember what I told you, Tel?
Chig, shout yourself out, mate. Let everyone know where they can find you.
No, thank you. I've seen Jake. I saw your comment as well. Thank you, mate. Gooner Eagle Eye. I do shows as much as possible. Try and do a show every single day. Usually commenting about something to do at Arsenal. And from time to time I do podcasts, do little bits and bobs. So make sure you check me out. That'd be great. Thank you.
I hope you're beating commercial on this football game, on this FIFA.
I'm practicing. I'll get there soon. I'm
looking forward to
I tell you what, the best time to play him, yeah? Around late in the evening.
I know. When he's had a couple.
I'm looking forward to your UFC shows, mate. I can't wait for it to be back, Chig. So I'm looking forward
of course,
to
man. Of course.
No, we'll have these boys on for UFC and boxing now because they're big experts.
Oh yeah, tell. Remember the boxing, man. I can't wait. Remember, don't forget me when it comes to boxing, Chig and Tell.
Boxing,
you know,
we'll do
watch-alongs.
We'll do watch-alongs, boxing watch-alongs, yeah?
Kenny, why would I have you on again, mate, when I told you he was going to win and you wouldn't believe me?
You know what? Tell, I've never forgiven you for being right that time. You know that. and you said Fury not
season
They're looking to start in July. No, it's not. They're looking to start in July. The West Indies, England were playing the West Indies, and I think Pakistan. That's been put back. So
it was meant to be May 28th, but it's been put back. Yeah.
Lewis from Blues Fan TV, Sophie.
You can get Lewis on, not Sophie. Come on, she
no
knows
comment
about football.
I can get Lewis. I can get Lewis, but I think Sophie's got the ump with me. So
hey, Claude, because I can say something. There's a girl called Becky on who does the sort of the fan scenes. She's like a big Chelsea fan as well. You can get her on. She'll definitely come on as well.
You get her number for me. Get her number.
Look, get her number for me. Look at this.
No, but we follow each other. She'll definitely like to come on your channel.
Oh, all right.
She's like massive Chelsea. Yeah. So I can speak to her.
Get her number. Get her number for me. Yeah.
All right, Kenny, thanks very much for coming on, mate. Absolutely appreciate it. Shout out yourself, mate. Where can people find you?
Well, my name's
Instagram. I think Afzal's got to make a few more appearances on here.
Definitely.
Talk a lot of stuff.
I'll tell you where everyone can find me. You can't find me on Twitter because I don't use Twitter because I can't stand some of the stuff Arsenal fans say on Twitter, so I don't use Twitter. I don't have a YouTube channel, but I do go on Arsenal Fan TV, so that's where you can find me.
We're not free about it. Not for a year, mate.
I can get you on WhatsApp anyway.
You only see me on here if I'm invited again. Otherwise, you won't see me for a year. You won't find me.
Stay yourself out, mate. Stay yourself out.
Chig will get Chig on. I've got to get Chig on more often because I like.
Yeah, Chig speaks.
Whenever you're ready, man. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. Let me know. Let me know whenever you're ready.
Okay. Kenny, where can we find you?
Lee Gunner's hard to get on. Lee Gunner's too busy.
He's always working, that's why.
All right. Claude, you must be about 2 sentences away because they've been asking me to introduce my channel and you keep cutting in.
Oh, sorry, you've got a new channel, Kenny. Sorry, man.
No, I ain't got a channel.
Sorry, Kenny.
Claude, if I had a channel, everyone would want to watch it.
Of course I would, mate.
You should get a channel.
No, not at all, mate.
Get a channel.
I ain't got time.
I'll tell you a great channel for you, all right? Doing your gym work.
No, the thing about it, right, is that I have to get my daughters to do everything for me, like the intro and everything. And the youngest one would do it without fail, but the oldest one would like Uminari. But you can find me on Instagram and Twitter on Kenny Ken 1972.
And on Pep Talk as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't really do much of Pep Talk. I just tend to sort of, as you can see, I'm just like basically a stowaway. That if anyone gives me a bed for the night, YouTube, a podcast, I'll join in
every week. Remember when we used to go on Chelsea SW6 every week, you and Claude?
I know, yeah. But Tony hasn't got that spare room for me no more. He hasn't got that warm bed for me.
Those were
That's
the
why
days.
we've got on.
Anyway,
if you
Chig, where's Chig gone? Is Chig gone off? Oh.
3-hour podcast. Remember,
Chig, thanks for coming on, Chig. Thanks, just saying, thank you, Chig, for coming on as well, mate.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks,
And I
Claude.
really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Terry, for having me on.
Thank you, Afzal. Thank you. Oh, look who's just turned up. Flo Zanelli. Flo Zanelli. Will you contact me through Twitter or something, wherever? I need to talk to you, mate. All right. Hope you're well, mate. Thank you very much, Flo. I haven't spoken to him for a while. Also, Terry.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks a lot for coming on, mate. Brilliant host as usual. Well, what can I say? Thank you for everyone in the chat for coming in, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. And have an enjoyable week ahead, where I don't know what we're going to do in the next week. I think Thursdays.
bank holidays on a Friday.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Every day's a bank holiday now, isn't it? At the moment. Jesus Christ. No one's working, are they? So, anyway, apart from the people that are doing the most important, like the NHS, who are doing a great job, by the way. Anyway, so thank you to everyone. Have a great week. Take care, everyone. And
Keep safe, everyone. Take care, bro.
Thanks, guys.